Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of StarCraft2 Legacy of the Void, and a match between uThermal and Reynor from WCS Montreal, here on Cerulean Fall. Top right-hand corner, it's going to be the blue Terran player. He is Dutch, he is from Team Liquid, it is uThermal. And in the bottom left-hand corner, the red Zerg player, he's 16. He is Zerg, he is red, it is Reynor. Reynor has been featured a lot on the channel lately just because, I don't know, I kind of like up-and-coming Zerg players, and he's been in a lot of long games. There were a lot of short games in WCS Montreal. If you like short games, go ahead and check out my cheesy compilation of professionals from WCS Montreal posted on Sunday this week. A couple days ago, just a couple of days ago, uThermal here can go for cheese, can go for a mid-game push, can go for the late game. He is excellent in all facets of StarCraft2. Reynor has just an uncanny ability to macro, to check the map, to creep spread, to position well, to be aggressive, to be defensive. I don't know, man. I do not know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. I've got 10 years on this kid. Almost 10 years, just about 10. And he would stomp me, and not just because I'm terrible at ZVZ. So a couple days ago on ladder I did a ZVZ where I went 15-14-14 with a Baneling nest, and then all of a sudden got swamped by a whole bunch of speedlings right before my Banelings were morphing. And so I asked the guy, I'm like, hey dude, what is that? And he told me it's basically a 14 hatch 12 pool into an extractor, into speed, and then just pumplings from there. And apparently that's pretty darn effective. At the diamond level anyway, so I've been kind of using that. Just trying to pick up different builds from my pocket. This Reaper here from uThermal is going to be named Link, the hero of a legend. Once again, he was reborn to seal away the darkness of Ganon. However, the universe's magic has almost entirely been absorbed by the Protoss technology. Ganon is no longer a power wizard pig monster, but a weak drone SCV or a probe. And the once mighty Master Sword is now just a toothpick. Still, Link goes forward to defeat Ganon with a Reaper suit and a pair of pistols to save... Okay, well basically no one, as Worker Ganon isn't a threat to anyone. He's going to try to pick off some of these links here. Look at this ring around the Rosie. And juking away. Again, on the creep, links are faster, but angles matter here. Does get one kill. So apparently Ganon is a drone. So even if you don't get a drone kill, Link, that's okay. I think that'll be just fine. He's going for a factory with a reactor on that barracks back home. I imagine we're going to go into Hellion production. uThermal does like his Hellions. I think he's one of the Terran players that opens Hellions more often than most other Terrans. And reactor here. Pop. We've got a starport follow-up, and then barracks is going to land over on that direction. So there's a 1-1-1 build with the command center thrown in. Destiny Cloud Fist Strike is what some people like to call it, at least some people on the channel. Inject. Go. Do it, Queen. Come on. There's the inject. There's the inject. There's the inject on the natural. Third base about to pop here, about the 3-minute mark. And yeah, just queening it up, man. Making queens is Reynor, expanding to that third base. The third command center is on the way here from uThermal too. So definitely going to be a macro-style game. Couple Hellions out. They're here to defend against speedling attacks that may show up at any time now. But honestly, I don't see it. I don't see it coming out of Reynor here. KD8 charge. He's going to try to kill that creep tumor. He forces a cancel on the creep tumor. Nicely done, Link. I mean, sometimes not killing something is just about as good as killing something in a lot of situations. It does slow down the creep spread just a tiny bit, and creep spread is an exponential growth type situation. The more creep tumors that are out at the 5-minute mark, the more creep there is at the 10-minute mark. It grows that way. It is going to be Hellion. It is going to be a Banshee. Not with Cloak, though. We've seen a lot of Cloak Banshee in ZVT recently, but this one is not going for the Cloak. Look at this Overlord scouting. He's going to see it. He's going to see the starport. He's going to see the tech lab on the starport. That's going to be Banshee. There's nothing else you're going to do with that. Honestly, not at this stage of the game. It's not going to be a battlecruiser opening, because that would be hilarious. Alright, so these are very defensive Hellions. A couple of them are moving out. It's just 3 of them with the Reaper. 3 Hellions staying home to defend their Lings, trying to get a surround on these guys. KD8 charge actually hits Link and knocks him over. Creep spread actually not connecting these bases. Just about connecting, but not quite. From this third to the natural. The main to the natural has a bit of an open area there. The queens are going to have to slog across. Spore Crawler coming up along this left side to deal with Liberator attacks, and Banshees actually in particular, because again, the tech lab indicates it is going to be a Banshee. Overlord in this position is so good against this early game from uThermal. Nothing much can shoot up And as a result, he sees the Hellions moving out. He's got 10 more Lings in production. The Banshee's trying to swing around this way. Queens are ready for her, though. Look at this. The Overlord's scouting. The Queen's getting into position. They're off creep, which makes them slow. But they are going to get some shots off. Get out of there, Queen. This is not the place for you at all. Is there... The Hellions are kind of going to dive on in here. Is there an armory? No. So these can't transform into Hellbats. I think Hellbats would be really good in this situation. The Queen count is getting kind of nuts for Reynor, though. 7 Queens out at the 5-minute mark for 3 bases. Third command center is done. It's upgraded to an orbital command. It's going to land here for a third at a pretty good timing for a Terran player, honestly. So Reynor should go for a 4th base or try to knock down this third at this stage of the game. +1/+1 on the way for the Zerglings. There is a lair. Morphing in here. 2 Zerglings. Thinking about it. Thinking about going in. That Hellion count, I think, is enough to keep them away, though. And that's not much of a hole to get in either. Zerglings going for it. Going to pick up a couple Marines. Ooh, that tank. The tank is a priority target here. I don't know if they can get it before the Marines finish them off. And no, cannot do. A couple Marines are going to get picked off there. Lings get roasted for their trouble. The tank is alive thanks to these Marine buddies with 2 kills and 2 kills each, making sure their tank friend does survive to see another day, just because tanks are really good against Zerglings. And if tanks are firing on the Lings, then the Lings are not smashing you in the face as a Marine. 4th base coming in for Reynor. Macro hatch inside the main base for him too. Yeah, this is really gearing up for a crazy macro style game between these two players. Now, something I've noticed here is that a lot of my videos that are only, 15, 16 minutes long just don't get the views that the longer ones do. And honestly, I understand that. In Heart of the Swarm, a 15-minute game was like, because 5 to 6 to 7 minutes of that, there was nothing going on. There really wasn't. People were on 2 bases at that point of the game. They're still trying to macro up. Starting with 5 or 6 workers was a lot different than starting with 12. It's that increase over time concept that we deal with here with the creep tumors too. So anyway, what I'm saying is, if you're skipping games that are only 15 or 16 minutes long, they are macro games, you guys. They're getting into the late game in 15 or 16 minutes. You can get maxed out in 9 minutes. Easily maxed out in 9 minutes. Look at this. Reynor's already at 100 supply. He's at 73 workers at 7 minutes. He's done making workers. He's going to start pumping out SCVs, start getting upgrades, start going for, I guess, what else can he do here? A Spire would be fun. He's got a Hydralisk Den. Okay, a Hydralisk den's going to make some Hydras, going to make some Banelings, and he'll be maxed out at the 9-minute mark. And at that point, you have 6 or 7 minutes of maxed out gameplay, which is insane. Anyway, pushing on in here, uThermal got the tanks on the high ground. This 4th base is in a lot of trouble right now. I don't know about this. I think Reynor might have overcommitted a little bit on the drones. That said, he's coming around the backside. He wants to finish off these tanks. Can he get it? Tank down. Zerglings all sacrifice their lives to make that happen, though. And we have some Hellbats at the front. Some Marines here, too. Banelings got to get hits on these dudes, and they are going for it. Beautiful splits from uThermal, though. Oh, my goodness. The splits are real. Ladies and gentlemen, that said, too many Lings there. That's the problem with dealing with Ling Baneling as a Terran player, is if you split against the Banelings, you're good, but then the Zerglings can get surrounds on you. And then they can start picking your dudes off one by one, and that is a horrible situation. So good hold there by Reynor at the 4th base. He lost a few drones, but nothing too major here. Zerglings seeing this drop. I think that was an accidental scout, probably, more than anything else. Look at this creep spread. And a 5th base coming in for Reynor, too. He feels extremely confident after holding off that early attack. He's got Hydras. He's got Lings. He's got Banelings. The Banelings do have centrifugal hooks. They are rolling. Keep those prices rolling. Rolling. Rahad. Yeehaw. Right side. Drop. Again, scouted by a Zergling. Hydras and Lings are here. They don't want to engage with these Hydralisks at all. Look at the range on Hydra range with Zerglings buffering too are so good. Lings up here to make sure there's not a drop coming down the left side, and there's not infestation pit on the way. Reynor's at 156 supply out of 166 available. 24 more Zerglings on the way, 2 Hydralisks as well. And yeah, he's just in full-on macro mode. Zerglings on top of this, another drop getting shut down. Reynor doing this without a Spire, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fairly, not super drop-heavy play, but these drops are getting scouted and dealt with just because of good creep spread and just good Zergling movements with +2/+2. That's where we are with this. 2 more Overlords in production here for Reynor. He's spending as well exceptionally well. uThermal is 2. 400 APM for both of these players at this stage of the game. That's just insane. Zerglings coming on down. Another group of Marines here on creep. Zerglings killing them too. 29 Marines have died, 110 Zerglings. have lost their lives so far. Resources lost 2,700 for uThermal, about 4,200, well, 3,900-ish for Reynor. And it's just going to be Marine, Tank, and Marine, Tank, and Marine, Tank. I don't see any Marauders on the ground right now. Is that it? It's 64 Marines, 6 Tanks, and a Banshee for uThermal. They got +1/+1. They're working on +2/+2. I think he's trying to time this to +2/+2 finishing. As, yeah, they're finishing along that right side there, thanks to the WCS Game Heart interface. Killing creep tumors. Ooh, is this a counterattack? Ling counterattack. Reynor loves these. He loves these counterattacks. He's like, all right, you're going to push my creep. I'm going to send Lings out, pick off a couple tanks, kill some SCVs, force you to respond to that, and then maybe you're going to be distracted while I try to deal with your push at the front. Not in this case. uThermal is not being distracted, as you can tell. +2/+2 Marines with tank support. The tanks are sitting here at +1 attack. Not bad. Hydralisks have +2 ground carapace and +1 missile attacks on the way, but it's not done yet. They do have the muscular augments and the group spines upgrade, giving them speed and range, which you really, really need if you have a lot of hiders in your army. But it's 200 to 200 supply. See, we're 11 minutes in. We're 11 minutes in. This is macro stage right now. This is late game right now. Zerglings, some splitting off into the third base, others going into this fourth base, but that's a planetary fortress. That is suicide. Suicide for sure. And this small group of Marines remaining, they're dead. Tanks on the high ground trying to cover them, but that's just too much stuff. Zerglings hold positioning here against these SCVs. This SCV is actually getting healed up and then does get finally surrounded and murdered. Is there any tank fire? No, the tanks aren't in range to actually get this hatch. Small group of Marines trying to finish this sucker off. 13 SCVs down, though. That's crazy talk. Absolutely insanity. The base does go down. First base blood here. One hatch has been killed by uThermal at this stage of the game. Zerg, oh, they morphed into Banelings. They morphed into Banelings. The target fire and the split, though. That was some horribly ineffective Baneling hit. They got a couple SCVs, but that was a lot of dead Banelings. 19 Banelings have been killed against their will so far. They're suicide units, and so when they detonate, it doesn't count as units lost. But if they get killed before they detonate on their own accord, that counts. Nice positioning here by uThermal. Just fantastic play from the Terran player over the last couple of minutes here, getting a hatch and keeping his own planetary fortress alive. Not that hard to do, honestly, against Zerglings, but against Banelings, it's a lot scarier. uThermal picking up a 5th base like a boss right now. Base in the bottom right-hand corner by Reynor has been taken as well, though. He's getting an Ultralisk Cavern here, working on Adrenal Glands, and +3 for his ground units. This base is not a PF yet. I don't know if you can hold this. That's a forced liftoff. Man, the Zergling play by Reynor has been so good. Oh, free medevacs somehow. Where are they? Wait, where are they supposed to be going? Are they? Is he just? I think he's just giving them up to make additional supply. He has too many medevacs, you guys. He wants this one to get killed. Sorry, medevac pilot. You should probably abandon right now. Abandon hope and abandon ship. Right now. Zerglings, Hydras all over the place. Got the right side, got the left side. This base is not going to get landed anytime soon. So Hydras come in and try to deal with it. See, I'd send my whole army to deal with this thing, but nope. Not in this case. Banelings need to get hits on that planetary fortress right now. Oh, they're going after the SCVs instead. And they get the base anyway. That's brutal. That is brutal for uThermal. His 5th base is lifted off. His 4th base is down. Still have Zerglings running around like crazy people all inside this 4th base location. They might get a refinery too. Do they have Adrenal Glands? Yeah, Adrenal Glands is done. So these are cracklings, man. These guys hit hard. Surprisingly hard to kill as well. Attack coming down this right side, going after Reynor's 6th base. And they're going to kill a lot of drones unless the drones run. They are starting to run. Zerglings dancing around up by this 4th of uThermal, getting chased away by +2 tanks. Hatchery down. uThermal picking off bases. He loses one and takes another one in revenge. Another hatch. Possibly going to die here too, and it does. uThermal has killed 3 hatcheries. The army gets here from Reynor, but it's too late. Too late. Zerglings up here trying to just kill units that are coming out of the main base. Kill SCVs here too at the 3rd base. That has been 44 SCVs killed. It's 82 to 31 harvesters right now, and the Ultras are out. uThermal has spent so much time making Marines. He has 12 tanks. Okay, 13 tanks. He has 13 tanks. They have +2 attack. He has some Liberators too. Liberators are a good answer to the Ultralisks. Honestly, the one thing you don't want to have when Ultras start trundling over is 48 Marines. The Marines are not going to be able to do anything. Just because, again, how this works, for those of you who do not know, Ultralisk armor, well, all armor, honestly, it knocks down the amount of damage taken per attack by whatever the number is. So it's 5 here, which means every attack that is put up against an Ultralisk is knocked down by 5, which means these Marines that do 9 damage, it's actually doing 4 damage per shot instead of the beautiful 9 they would do against something with no armor. I mean, it's insane. The Ultralisks can get basically tickled from Marines forever before they die. Hoorah! That's why Liberators are really good. As you can see here, Liberators in Defender mode do that's not in Defender mode at all. Marines trying to get another hatchery, but no, sir. Not with an Ultralisk, Hydralisk army sitting there. Are any of these Liberators in Defender mode? They do like 100 damage per shot, which is amazing. And it's a slow shot, and that's what you want. You want slow shots as a yoink. Takes down a medevac. Slow, big, heavy shots against Ultras. Tanks for that reason. Steady targeting from Ghosts for that reason, especially because steady targeting from Ghosts will ignore armor entirely. All this 7 armor, no, it's gone. Oh, they've got the 7 now. They've got the 7 now, which means the Marines are doing 2 damage per shot against these Ultras. 2! I know they shoot fast, but good golly, Miss Molly. Zerglings trying to roll in. Got Ultralisk trying to take down this planetary fortress by themselves. They can't, not with the SCVs repairing. And they know it. Zerglings in the middle of the map getting chased away there too. Ultralisks going home. They have 0 kills and 0 kills each. They were sent on a mission, and they failed in their mission. So they're heading home. Shamed. Shamed by the swarm. Corruptors and a Greater Spire on the way from Reynor. We've seen Broodlords more often than not in these late game Zerg games that I've been casting recently. It just seems like the Broodlord has kind of found its way back into the meta a little bit for whatever reason. Alright, so uThermal's back up to 49 Harvesters, and his army supply, his total supply. Yeah, army supply is bigger than Reynor's here. Reynor might have too many workers to allow him to have the army supply and army size enough to deal with what uThermal is rolling with right now. That is an interesting aspect of this game. Once you're maxed out, you might want to start killing some workers. So it's 75 damage per shot with no attack upgrades in the Defender mode, Concord Cannon mode. Broodlords are here, though. Oh, do you have enough anti-air to deal with Broodlords? Abducting a Liberator so the Corruptors can kill it. I mean, no bonus damage versus Liberators, because Corruptors do that bonus damage versus Massive, and that would be Battle Cruisers, but not Liberators. They're regular type. Regular, non-massive type. Broodlords, again, just coming on in. I would just worry about these Marines coming up and just burning you down. Is what I'd be worried about here. The Defender mode circles are not in the right place. The Marines coming around the left side, though. All the Broodlords are almost all dead right now. Trying to keep this Ultralisk inside the Defender mode circles, and it does get picked off. Hydra's finishing off Liberators, though, and Reynor manages to crush through that front. It's 200 to 137 supply. uThermal making more Liberators to try to deal with his Ultralisks. Nope, they don't want to take any hits from that Concord Cannon. Thank you very much. Corruptors on the left side taking down what I think was a medevac, if I had to guess. And uThermal, still no new bases for a while, and Reynor is sitting on 7 at this stage of the game. The whole bottom left-hand corner of the map happens to be his. Pretty good Sim City here from uThermal. Across all of his bases, he has production facilities kind of spread out, just so one Doom drop in his main doesn't wreck his ability to make anything. I mean, sure, most of his stuff is here, but he still has a couple factories, a couple barracks out in different locations away from that main base. Armory, not researching anything. He's happy with the resources, with the upgrades that he has. Not happy with the resources he has, though. Income here, 1,500 compared to 2,600 minerals per minute in favor of the Zerg player. This is just Reynor macroing his face off. As I mentioned, he's very, very capable of doing. He just expands every 2 minutes, whether he needs to or not, it feels like, and he's able to hold most of them. I know a lot of hatcheries have died so far this game. 3 of them is a big deal, but he replaces them so quickly, you almost forget they were gone in the first place. Look, this 4th base is here. The 6th base is rolling again. We got a small push of uThermal. 3-3 Marines. Good in most situations. Again, and not good against Ultralisks, but good against Hydras, good against Broodlords. Good against most things that Zerg can throw at them. Banelings, no. I mean, they have their definite weaknesses, but otherwise they are an all-around, all-purpose sort of a unit. So Liberator count, uThermal continuing to double pump these guys. Double pumping them so the Ultras are not nearly as effective as they otherwise would be. Tank fire here against these Banelings. Tank fire here against the Ultras too. This Ultra trundling in. Defender mode circle not quite getting where the Ultra was. Marauder's also a good answer here, doing that bonus damage versus armored and kind of a slow, heavy hitting style of attack. Marauder's a good answer to the Ultras. So again, if you're dealing with Ultralisks as a Terran player and you have a lot of Marines, just trade them out for Marauders, and tanks and Liberators and Ghosts, honestly. Ghosts are so good in this situation. They're trying to get that wall back up, but no. Not at all, says Reynor. We're going to knock this sucker down before it's even finished constructing. And that said, the Marauders holding their own, standing inside the Defender mode circle. Got Corruptors out for Reynor. I don't think he's going to try to go for Broodlords anymore. What's he making? He is making more Corruptors, though. I think the Corruptors are basically for the Liberators. It's going to be a Ling, Bling, Ultralisk, Corruptor-style play. He's got a few Hydras in here, too. This is as diverse an army I've seen from a Zerg player in a while. Ling, Baneling, Hydra, Ultra, Corruptor, Viper from him. Some Infestors, I think, would be pretty fun as well, just to catch these Bio Balls a little bit. Some Blinding Cloud on the tanks. Well, that's Vipers. Anyway, Corruptors might try to Caustic Spray down that Planetary Fortress. They do pick up a Liberator quite nicely. Attacking on into this third base again is Reynor. This has been a favorite spot of his. Hatchery down to this army on the left side, though, of uThermals. Liberator's getting picked off by Corruptors in the sky, though. That is such a bad look for them. Factory gets picked off. Marines running for their lives. I don't think there's any medevac support, any air support at all. These guys maybe could save them if they wanted, but these guys are just going after drones now. Drone. Trying to pick off this hatchery before the Ultras come on in. It's a game of ring around the rosy at this stage. Hiding behind here to where the Ultras can't get necessarily. That's actually pretty good, but the Lings can squeak in, and the Lings finish them off quite nicely. Resources lost 29,000 for uThermal compared to about 30,000 for Reynor thus far. He's making 16 Banelings, though. That seems like a good number of Banelings. It is 146 to 200 supply. Corruptors just target firing down to Liberators. One by one right now. The Marines and Marauders on the ground, though, really winning the battles. And then the Corruptors start getting picked off once the ground units are gone. And I think that could have gone a lot better for Reynor, to be honest here. Banelings trying to get on this bio. The kiting is really good. They're off creep. And off creep definitely favors the Terran here. Oh, is that a blinding cloud down on his own units a little bit? That was a weird blinding cloud from Reynor. I'm not sure what he was attempting there. Trying to chase down this Ultralisk and kill it before it gets home. Oh, he has so few hit points. 4 hit points. And he gets out of there. He's got 1 kill. Not exactly super cost efficient, but whatever. Yeah, again, these hatcheries that die, they get replaced so quickly. Another one on the way from Reynor here, too. Base established for uThermal. He's floating one up to the top left-hand corner. 200 to 136 supply. The army, what we're dealing with here from uThermal is just this small group of bio. His Liberator count is 3. He just doesn't have the tech to deal with these Ultralisks, and they're 7 armor right now. We've seen this time and time again. Is you go and you tech up to something like Liberators, you try to go for Ghosts, you try to do with something to do with the Ultras, but then they all die. And you're left with a small group of Marine, Marauder, and Medevac, and those are good against a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, but Ultralisks are not their cup of tea. Not even remotely. Zergling is just picking off SCVs. Got the Adrenal Glands upgrade. He's got 3 kills. What a little boss he is. Another attempt to drop at Reynor's 6th base. No, gets shut down. A Liberator shows up at Reynor's 7th base. Gets shut down there too. 8th base done. Ready for construction. Ready for mining, rather. It's already been constructed. And here come the Broodlords. Yeah, man. The Broodlords are chasing everybody down. Those are fully upgraded Broodlings, mind you. Double pumping Vikings. Double pumping Vikings right now is uThermal as much as he can. Again, the income is not good. You know what? He just is mules. Does he have some mules? Either way, the Planetary Fortress at his main mining location is dead. This is it. This is the death throes for uThermal, unfortunately. And I know I've been casting a lot of Zerg games where they win, but I really feel like it's mostly a result of late game Zerg at this level of StarCraft is just better than late game Terran. And I think a lot of Terran fans would agree with me on this, as these guys just have such a hard time killing these Ultras. Ghosts, man. If I would give one word of advice to uThermal, if he could hear me, it'd be Ghosts. Steady targeting against Ultras really wrecks those guys. Also great against Broodlords, by the way, in case you were curious about that. So yeah, this might be a situation where Terran's winning a lot, right? It's just in the early game, and it's the mid game. It's timing pushes. It's cheese. It's proxy racks type stuff. I mean, there was a time when every time I cast a Beyond game on the channel, he won. Because Beyond, when he gets into the late game, was unstoppable back in certain eras of Legacy of the Void. Zerglings rolling on into the 3rd base again. This is not a place you want to work. The Zerglings hate this location. And then I did some research, so I looked into it. looked at a bunch of Beyond games and found, okay, so you can beat Beyond if you beat him before 10 minutes, is what the idea was. Hatchery down here from uThermal, maybe? Okay, I keep acting like this game is over, but if another hatch goes down here, extractor down, Ultralisk getting target fired, yeah, it's just another Ultra down, another Ultra getting transfuses though, great. Transfuses so good here. Overstimmed, the Zergling coming around from the backside. It is a final stand for uThermal. A lot of his units are left behind, no room inside the medevacs, and they do get killed. The Broodlords have finally made it. Corruptors trying to deal with these Vikings, the Vikings trying to pick off the Broodlords. Good micro here from uThermal coming around the outside, but that's too many Corruptor. The Broodlords are at the front right now. There is no answer to these guys. It's 196 to 57 supply. Reynor has done it with, again, a very eclectic composition here. Ultra, Broodlord, Corruptor, Hydra, Ling, Baneling, Viper. And that's your good game. uThermal's out, and Reynor is victorious in 25 minutes and 44 seconds. Hurrah! What a game. 6 hatches went down from Reynor. 6. He killed 3 planetary fortresses and 1 command center himself, so he was definitely giving as good as he was taking. But it is not often that you see a Zerg player lose 6 hatcheries and come out on top this decisively, right? Not often. That's just Reynor, man. He didn't make a Spire in this game. He dealt with a fairly heavy dropping style from uThermal without getting Spire. Amazing stuff. And again, Ghosts. It's just Ghost. If Ultras roll up on your base and you have 8 or 9 Ghosts, you steady target those guys. Bam, 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 bam. They're extremely weakened and or mostly dead. And then your army can deal with them much more easily. That was something I first saw with Bjorn, is he used the ability. It was Snipe back then, but it was basically the same concept. And he would wreck Ultras. Ultras couldn't do anything against him. And I just feel like uThermal would do better that way, rather than going for Liberators, which are so easily taken down by Corruptors. I understand, too, that Ghosts, their steady targeting ability is channeled. And so if they get fungled or if they're getting hit on or chomped on by Broodlings, they can't cast it. But you got to just be fast on it. I know, I'm not really preaching from a position of strength here. Micro is not my strength in StarCraft at all. But all I'm saying is, if you can get there fast, you can take down the Broodlords, you can take down the Ultralisks with steady targeting before much else happens. But anyways, 45,000 resources lost for uThermal. We have a total of 46,000 resources lost from Reynor. So, I mean, it tells you a lot. 107 SCVs died, though. That was some consistent SCV pressure at the 3rd base here and also over at the 4th base by Reynor against uThermal's SCVs. It was a campaign of terror, to be sure. How many Marines went down? That's always fun. 213. 687 Zerglings died in 25 minutes. 12 Ultras went down as well. Where's our Liberator death count? That's 23 Liberators, 17 tanks, and a lot of buildings from uThermal. Okay, well, that is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and Patreon too. Sometimes that ending is a little bit lost, but anyway, it's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time, you take care of yourself.